I want to get into the trans awareness issues. The Mississippi State Legislature passed a bill this week that bans transgender athletes from competing on female sports teams at schools and universities. That there are currently 25 states considering laws like this, specifically banning transgender women from competing in women's sports activities. What are your thoughts on this?
You know, this is very controversial, and with me being one of the outspoken leaders in media of the LGBTQ community, I might come under a lot of fire for this, but here's what I have to say. My aunt and my grandmother taught me that in this life, we all have our cross to bear. And the reality of the situation is that there are just going to be some things by virtue of who you are, you're not going to be able to do in this life. You're not going to be allowed to participate in, you're not going to have access to. And unfortunately, when you were dealt the trans hand, no matter how you slice it and dice it, you may be a woman in your psyche, in your spirit, in your soul, in your mind, and everywhere else that matters. But from a physical and biological perspective, you are a man, you are male. Science has proven that men, by virtue of who they are stronger, more agile, and faster than women. It is just unfair. And it's one of those things, and I'm sorry if this sounds insensitive, that the trans community is just going to have to forego in exchange for all the other liberties that they're trying to get. You can't have everything, and that's going to be one of them. Maybe
Well,
the answer is you start a trans league, but you cannot
right.
tell me by any stretch of the imagination that if you put a trans woman against a cisgender woman, that
Right.
there's not a physical advantage.
Right. I have to agree with Funky on that, because this is the deal. Why not just create a whole different league? Why not create a whole different division? Because you have a women's, you have a men's. Why not have a trans? Because have you guys seen the video of these trans women running in track, at least in track and field or in other competitive sports, against the other women? It's like they are blowing them away. It's not even like it's close. So what it shows me is that that's not even fair in the least bit. And a lot of these women have spent their entire careers from AAU track and field when they were 12 all the way up until they're 20 to try to win and maintain certain, races, and they are being trumped by these trans runners. So I'm concerned about that. So my thing is, let's level the playing field and let's create a trans division. Why not, or a trans league? My brain's not working right now, but why not compete? Why not let them compete on an equal footing?
And I understand the argument that, the whole point of transitioning is to live what you feel, your truth and how you identify, and not to feel excluded. I understand that. As someone that ran track for like 15 years, I think it was, the difference between first, second, and third place can literally be a hundredth of a second. And any little competitive edge you can get will make the difference between you getting a scholarship or not, between you getting that blue medal and that gold ribbon. I'm sorry, that gold ribbon and that blue medal or not. And in track and field, they don't care about second and third place. They really don't. It's all about the winner. You never hear about who's second in the 100-meter dash or the 200-meter dash or the mile. It's number one. So I do feel like, even though there are studies that say, and I heard the argument that, okay, that with trans women, there's testosterone suppressors and all kinds of things. So their levels are lower as a cisgender woman, like equal. But I still feel like there's muscle mass, bone density, there's so many things, and science proves this, y'all. And I'm all for the transgender community to feel included. I really am. I rock with y'all. But when I'm seeing MMA fights where a cis woman's skull was fractured because the trans woman that she fought was so much stronger, we've got to come up with a solution that works for everyone. We really do. And that's not to dish anybody.
Well, what's wrong with starting their own league?
Well, because the whole thing is that you're supposed to be transitioned into the mainstream world. And speaking of, and something that gave us a lot of education into that, Claudia, I don't mean to jump ahead. I think it's worth mentioning that Pose is at season 3 is premiering May something or another, and it's the final and third season. And I would encourage anybody out there who wants, you know, to have some more meats and potatoes to have this argument that we're having, or to get more information about the trans community, to really watch this show, because it opened my eyes and explained a lot of things to me. And just because I'm a gay boy and I'm a part of the LGBTQ community doesn't even mean I understand the trans community per se. So I definitely want to say shouts out to Pose, Ryan Murphy, FX, Angelica Ross, all the girls over there. And I think for those people who are still having a lot of trouble with this whole trans thing, Pose would be a great, subtle, entertaining way for you to get some of the education that you're looking for, so we can have these more robust conversations.
And a fantastic show, might I add. The acting is superb. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with more TGIF when we return.